September 11th, 2001. A date that would be etched into the annals of history, forever altering the course of countless lives. Dawn broke over JFK Airport, painting the sky with hues of hope. The first light of day brought with it a sense of renewal, a promise of new beginnings. Flight 716, bound for London, stood ready. The massive Boeing 747, a marvel of modern engineering, awaited its passengers. Its engines silent, but full of potential. Passengers boarded, a mix of businessmen, families, dreams taking flight. Each person carried with them their own stories, their own reasons for this journey across the Atlantic. Among them was Ryan Carter, haunted by his past, seeking solace in the skies. His eyes reflected a deep-seated sorrow, a longing for redemption that only he understood. Little did they know, evil had already boarded. Hidden among the innocent faces, a sinister plan was set in motion, one that would shatter the illusion of safety. The engines roared, a symphony of power. The sound was both reassuring and thrilling, a testament to human ingenuity and the promise of adventure. Flight 716 soared, leaving behind the cityscape, ascending into the vast blue canvas. The ground fell away, and with it the worries of the world below. The initial turbulence subsided, replaced by the comforting quiet of cruising altitude. The plane leveled off, and a sense of calm enveloped the cabin. Stewardesses offered warm smiles. The aroma of coffee filled the cabin. Their professionalism and grace provided a sense of normalcy, a brief respite from the chaos of the world. A sense of normalcy, a fragile peace settled over the passengers. They chatted, read books, and gazed out the windows, unaware of the storm that was about to break. Yet, beneath the surface, a tension lingered. The flight attendants, trained to notice the smallest details, exchanged glances, their instincts on high alert. Some passengers, perhaps sensing the unease, gripped their armrests a little tighter. The calm before the storm was palpable, a quiet before the chaos. As the plane flew through the clouds, the world below seemed distant, almost unreal. The passengers were suspended in time, caught between the past and an uncertain future. Time ticked by, each second bringing them closer to their destination and to the unknown events that awaited them. The calm was deceptive, a prelude to the storm. In the cockpit, the pilots monitored their instruments, unaware of the impending danger. Their focus was on the flight path, the weather, and the routine tasks that kept the plane aloft. Flight 716 continued its journey, flying into the horizon. The sun began to set, casting a golden glow over the clouds, a beautiful end to a seemingly ordinary day. For Ryan Carter, the view from the window was a reminder of the vastness of the world and the smallness of his own troubles. He took a deep breath, hoping for a fresh start. As night fell, the stars appeared, twinkling like distant beacons of hope. The passengers settled in for the long flight, unaware that their lives were about to change forever. The calm before the storm was almost complete. The plane flew smoothly, a silent guardian of its precious cargo, carrying them towards an uncertain future. One by one, the passengers closed their eyes, drifting into sleep. Dreams of tomorrow filled their minds, unaware of the nightmare that was about to unfold. Flight 716 disappeared into the night, a solitary vessel in the vast expanse of the sky. The calm before the storm was over, and the world would never be the same again. Then, the world tilted. A scream pierced the air, sharp and sudden. Three men, faces contorted with hate, stormed the cockpit. Their leader, a man named Khaled, eyes burning with fanaticism, barked orders. Fear, raw and consuming, swept through the cabin. Passengers watched in horror as Khaled's men, armed with crude weapons, herded the flight attendants. Whispers of prayers and choked sobs filled the silence. Khaled grabbed the intercom, his voice a chilling rasp. "America will fall," he declared, his words laced with venom. "This is the day of reckoning." Ryan Carter felt a surge of adrenaline. Not fear, but instinct. Years of training kicked in, honed from his days in the Army Rangers. He scanned the cabin, assessing the situation. The hijackers, though ruthless, were disorganized. A glimmer of hope flickered in the darkness. He had to act for his sake, for everyone on board. He caught the eye of a terrified flight attendant. She subtly nodded towards the rear of the plane. A plan began to form in Ryan's mind, dangerous, desperate, but their only chance. The air crackled with tension. The passengers strapped into their seats could feel the weight of the situation pressing down on them. Every creak of the airplane, every muffled sound seemed amplified in the confined space. The atmosphere was thick with fear and uncertainty. Ryan, using the cover of commotion, made his move. He had been waiting for the right moment, his eyes scanning the cabin for any opportunity. The chaos around him provided the perfect distraction. He moved with purpose, his training guiding his every step. He lunged, disarming one of the hijackers with brutal efficiency. His movements were swift and precise, a testament to years of rigorous training. The hijacker barely had time to react before Ryan had him on the ground, the weapon clattering away. A struggle ensued, a whirlwind of fists and fury. The confined space of the airplane made every move critical. Ryan's opponent was relentless, but so was he. The two men grappled, each trying to gain the upper hand in the tight quarters. Passengers watched, their faces a mix of terror and awe. They were frozen in their seats, unable to look away from the intense battle unfolding before them. Some whispered prayers, others clutched their loved ones, hoping for a miracle. Each thud of flesh, each choked gasp for air, fueled Ryan's resolve. He could feel the weight of the passengers' hopes on his shoulders. Every punch, every block, was a step closer to securing their safety. The sounds of the struggle echoed through the cabin, a grim reminder of the stakes. He fought with the ferocity of a cornered animal, his training taking over. His mind was a blur of techniques and strategies, each one executed with precision. He knew he couldn't afford to lose, not here, not now. The lives of everyone on board depended on him. He managed to overpower the two hijackers, their bodies slumping to the floor. The immediate threat was neutralized, but Ryan knew the battle was far from over. He took a moment to catch his breath, his eyes scanning the cabin for any remaining threats. But Khaled, eyes blazing with fanaticism, still held the cockpit. The leader of the hijackers, Khaled, was a formidable opponent. His eyes were filled with a dangerous mix of determination and madness. He was prepared to go to any lengths to achieve his goal. The real battle was about to begin. Ryan knew that taking down Khaled would be the ultimate test. The cockpit was the heart of the airplane, and whoever controlled it controlled the fate of everyone on board. With a deep breath, Ryan steeled himself for the confrontation ahead. The fight for the skies was far from over. Section 5. Sacrifice and Strength. Ryan, battered but not broken, reached the cockpit door. His body ached from the struggle, bruises forming on his arms and face, but his resolve was unshaken. Every step he took was a testament to his unwavering determination. The stakes were high, and failure was not an option. It was locked. He could hear Khaled shouting, his voice laced with panic. The urgency in Khaled's voice sent chills down Ryan's spine. He knew that time was running out, and every second counted. The locked door was a formidable barrier, but Ryan's will was stronger. A chilling realization dawned. Khaled planned to crash the plane. Ryan knew he had to get inside, no matter the cost. The weight of the situation pressed heavily on his shoulders. He could almost see the catastrophic consequences if he failed. The lives of everyone on board depended on his next move. He looked back at the terrified faces of the passengers. A young girl, clutching a teddy bear, her eyes wide with fear, met his gaze. Her innocence and vulnerability struck a chord deep within him. The fear in her eyes mirrored the fear in his heart, but it also ignited a fierce determination. He couldn't let her down. He couldn't let any of them down. He wouldn't let them down. With a surge of adrenaline, he rammed the door again and again. Each impact sent shockwaves through his body, but he didn't stop. The pain was excruciating, but it was nothing compared to the thought of failing. His mind raced with thoughts of his family, his friends, and the innocent lives at stake. The metal groaned, buckled, and finally gave way. The sound of the door giving in was a symphony of hope. Ryan knew that this was just the beginning. The real battle was about to start, but he was ready. He had to be. For the passengers, for the young girl, and for everyone who believed in him. This was his moment of sacrifice and strength. Section 6. A dangerous landing. Inside the cockpit, chaos reigned. Khaled, wild-eyed, fought to maintain control of the aircraft. The plane lurched violently, instruments blinking frantically. Ryan, ignoring the searing pain in his side, tackled Khaled, a desperate struggle for survival. He managed to overpower Khaled, but not before the plane went into a nosedive. Alarms blared, the ground rushing towards them with terrifying speed. Ryan wrestled with the controls, his heart pounding against his ribs. He pulled back on the yoke, praying for a miracle. Section 7. Whispers of a wider plot. The plane shuddered, groaning in protest as it leveled out, barely skimming the treetops. Ryan managed to regain control, his breath coming in ragged gasps. He glanced at the GPS, his blood running cold. They weren't heading back to JFK, they were being guided elsewhere. His mind raced. This wasn't just a random hijacking, this was a coordinated attack, and he was a pawn in a much larger game. He had to play along for now, gather information, and wait for his chance to strike back. Section 8. The Unseen Hand. Fear turned to icy resolve. He would land the plane, but he wouldn't play their game. He contacted air traffic control, his voice calm despite the turmoil raging inside him. He played the part of the hero pilot, buying time, all the while searching for clues, for answers. Who was behind this? What was their endgame? The questions swirled in his mind, a dangerous puzzle he needed to solve. He knew one thing for sure. This was far from over. The fight for Flight 716 was just the beginning. Section 9. A World on Edge. The world watched as Flight 716, against all odds, made a safe landing. Ryan Carter emerged a hero, his face etched with the horrors he had witnessed. But behind the relief, a chilling truth settled in. The world was no longer the same. The threat remained, lurking in the shadows, waiting to strike again. And Ryan Carter, forever changed by the events of that day, vowed to hunt them down. The fight for freedom had just begun.